All right. I'm here with Matthew Lidbetter, who's been an incredible customer. We started working together back in, I believe it was no, I'm trying to remember actually, October or November or whatnot. Local, obviously, agent to me in Ontario. He's crushed it. He was working on the Sync platform and needed help with just general conversions, but he had his own system that he knew worked really, really well. I could tell he was a perfect fit for this just because of the leads he had coming in, his business on the back end already, but it was the appointments, I guess, on the front end, and he had a lot of calling experience himself that he just needed some help with, and we got rolling pretty quickly. So I'll let you kind of take it from there and explain just how I guess where you were before with us, with working with us, and then where you are now, and just where you want to take your business over the next couple of years.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. So I'm Matthew Lidbetter. I'm with Sotheby's, and I've been with Sotheby's for around 6 or 7 years. I've been using lead generation platforms for probably 5 years and generate a lot of leads. I would say on average, I generate between 100 and 120 leads a month.
Hmm.
And given the amount of business that I'm doing, didn't have the time to follow up effectively. So we were getting a lead in, and I was only concentrating on the really low-hanging fruit and ignoring the stuff that we could nurture. So
Yeah.
Brandon and his team came in and helped with that, and has been following up for me and giving me the ability to go to qualified leads, have qualified calls, and much better appointments and conversion rates. So that's what we've been doing. It has been successful. And we will continue with convertifying over the coming months and years.
Right. I love it. How was you had a good system. A lot of agents think that this thing is like you're going to get a deal in 30 days or 60 days. And this is why it's a lot very important to work with, pre-qualified customers on our end too, almost like your own pre-approval. I knew you had this because you've had leads for many, many years, longer than even technically my company's even been around. You know the job, you know the experience. I think on our first call, you're like, I know this isn't a get rich quick thing. Like this is going to take many, many months to even see a transaction, let alone start, having appointments come through and whatnot. What do you recommend for new agents, not just to hire an ISA, but just in general, the mindset that they should go in with online leads in general as a whole, big picture?
Online leads, they take time. So you're not going to convert anything unless you're really lucky in less than 3 months.
Hmm.
What we see is that it can be 3, 6, 9 months when you've been engaging with the client
Yeah.
regularly,
Yeah.
that they'll then reach out. So typically, it's a fairly soft approach that we take
Hmm.
to convert people from lookers to buyers or sellers.
Yeah.
And as I say, it just takes time. And you have to accept that it is not a get rich quick scheme. It is you invest the money, you invest the time,
Hmm.
and over a period of time, it'll work.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a good end off. It's the perfect combo of be aggressive, but realize that these leads, just because they landed on your website, this is really what I liked what you said. Some people take it personally if they're registering on four different agents' websites. It's like that's just the nature of consumers. Like that's just what's going to happen. And we could either, sulk about it or say, well, if they don't pick up on the first ring, then I'm never going to call them again. Or we can say, let's try to make our first impression, because that's what our job was and is. And the ISA part is like, you're the first point of contact. And then once they're in your hands, sometimes you'd even say, hey, Brandon, send me good ones. Just doesn't even have to be a firm appointment. Just send me some type of nurture. Anyone who's willing to move 1 to 2% further down the sales pipeline, that's a win in my eyes. It doesn't have to go from 0 to 100 and to an appointment or a deal right away. I will help them along that process. So it was this is this kind of dance. You can't expect it to, snap fingers and, deals to fall from thin air. So no, that's awesome. That's good.
Brandon, that I've found is that um, using a lead generation platform, I tend to use their CRM system for the initial contacts and for the nurturing.
Hmm.
Once we have, or I have generated a real live contact, I then import them into my own contact management
Yeah.
system, because then they start going into my own drip campaigns rather than being within the um, lead generation platform. And that's just something I do.
Yeah,
Uh, Other people use the lead generation platform CRM exclusively, but I do find that once I put them into my system, I know that they are qualified, they're active, and they are either buying or selling in the, well, relatively near future. And the relatively near future, I consider to be 12 to 18 months.
me too. And most people think it's 3 to 6 or even shorter. And it's like you have to think longer term, maybe sometimes even longer. And that's just the life of a lead. We'll book the initial ones. That's why it's 5 to 7, 5 to 7 per every 100. Then it's like, well, Brandon, what happens to the rest of it? It's like those are nurtures or those are DQs or dead leads. Like that's just the name of the game. And no, I like that. Too many people are reliant on CRMs and auto, and it's like that's good and AI and all this stuff, but people need that human connection, especially with a purchase like this. So it's almost, again, it's this perfect balance of let the automations do their thing, i.e., emails, that those are always great to be automated, but calls and texts, I like to see those by hand because that's just what, people, especially buyers and sellers, are interested in or motivated by.
And
Um,
typically, people will respond to a text better than an email.
yes, it's
You
weird,
know,
as weird as that. They'll even be working or they'll be driving, and you're like, that's very strange. But you know what? If it gets the process of the ball rolling, it's like, okay, fair enough, which is pretty funny.
or a text, and often a text they will respond to, especially younger people will respond to text, and
Yes.
it's that instant gratification. If they reach out, you have to respond instantly.
That
If
that
they don't
and
respond,
and
then
match what they're doing.
yeah,
It's so perfect because you can't. It's like, okay, what a lot of agents do is like, okay, they didn't answer my text. They didn't answer my text. I'll just, or they did, but I'll call them. It's like, well, if they're not answering your calls and they're messaging you through text, message through text. Just mirror them, match them. If it's always the, maybe 70, 80-year olds that I've dealt with seniors before and they're old school. They love the call. Sometimes they even want to meet you in person. So it's like, just go with the flow. Just go with that. There's no reason to try and text them or to be all tech focused. Just do what they're doing, right? And mirror that. And that the client appreciates it, makes your job a lot easier. And I don't know. I've just seen the most success from there. So no, that's awesome. I appreciate you coming on, appreciate you sharing that. And thank you to all that took the time to watch.
no worries. Well, you have a great day, and if anybody wants to reach out to me,